Hey guys, we have June Marie Davis here. She is a actress. She's playing an amazing part in Trapped.
Hi guys, how are you? So my name is June Marie Davis. I am an actress and this is actually my second film. So being a supporting actress. So thank you, Ejaz, for giving me the opportunity
No, you
since
are.
I'm fairly new in the game
Well,
on
you're
this
good.
on this side of the camera.
Other than the fact that we've known each other for a long time and you are a dear friend of mine, but it wasn't the reason. The reason was that you were good at what you do, and that's why you got the part.
Oh, I'm so thankful. I worked very hard to make you proud.
Tell me the whole thing. Tell me what happened. How did I approach you? When you read the script, what happened to you and your thoughts?
You've been working on this for some time and you reached out to me. You're like, hey June, I want you to read the script on human trafficking. Then you approached me, we were playing Detective Cole, and you were like, well, what do you think? And I was just like, I would be honored. I mean, it's a very important subject. So I jumped on it.
What were your thoughts? What was rushing through your brain, and so on? So they can learn from your experience. An actor gets a job, and then what happens?
It's set in North Dakota, so I'm a New Yorker, so the dialect had to be which is interesting. So I got a dialect coach, and I practiced 24 hours of speaking in the North Dakotan dialect. Just to make it as authentic as possible. I just wanted to bring this character and be true to this character. Learning more about human trafficking and what the thought process is with detectives, and actually just immersing myself in like crime shows and talking to you about your thought process and like where you saw, what was your vision in this film and where you saw this character going and like her arc and the backstory of Detective Cole.
Of course, in the film, we don't have the time to show the entire backstory, but we do show bits and pieces and take the audience to explain your backstory. So, how did that process work out? How did it help you in projecting Detective Cole?
Mainly, Detective Cole is a mother of a teenage girl similar to the age of Brooke, who was the abducted child in my portion of the film. And I think trying to find the parallel to that, putting myself in this mother's shoes really deepened my character and the angst of trying to find who kidnapped Brooke Thompson.
Who did you pick to connect yourself to that would make you feel like a mother?
I actually asked mothers like what would you do? Like how do you think you would react? I do have nephews, I have godchildren. I just think about like if they were in my care and something was to happen to them, like what would happen? Like how would I feel? Like where would I go? A lot of it's listening and then just really feeling like, putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Right.
I mean, that's like something that you don't want anyone to ever go through, but it happens far too often.
So now tell me what happened at on rehearsals, though they were done on Zoom because that's the new way of doing rehearsals.
Talking things out with my fellow actors, my fellow castmates, and really having you there, and you put it on its feet. We actually like stood up and we actually did it. You know, we made believe that we were actually on set, having the actual photos of where it's set, like you provided us with. So we kind of like started absorbing all of that and trying to bring that to life. Actually speaking to North Dakotans, speaking with Barb really helped. Speaking with moms who had children abducted, unfortunately, and the outcomes aren't always favorable, unfortunately.
I think Barb brought the feminine side of the film into the film, and I stuck with the masculine side with it. And I think that helped us create this great bond between me and her, where things that I didn't bring to the table, she did, and things that she couldn't bring to the table, I did.
Yeah, there was definitely a balance between, the hard reality, but also the empathetic parental side.
Other than rehearsing with me, you and the other actors, Jeff and Emma, and so on, you guys rehearsed on your own as well.
100%. Yeah, as much yeah.
What made you go the extra mile to say, okay, it's my time, I'm going to rehearse on my own, and so on? What made you do that?
We believed in the story and we wanted to bring these characters to life and be as authentic as possible. So Jeff and Emma and I really, and Miles, we really made it our business to rehearse as much as possible whatever time we had. If it was at midnight, whatever time we had, we actually, we did what we had to do to bring this film alive and to make sure that the story and the content comes across as accurate and as authentic as possible.
I'm a fresh director and I don't have the experience that is required to have a authentic, genuine, realistic film. So was that rehearsing too much on your part as an actress? Was I asking for too much? Or is it true what I believe in? I believe the more you rehearse, the better you get.
I think it worked for me because I definitely wanted to rehearse and make sure I knew my lines and make sure I knew my character and, see it from all angles and try to bring that character to life. So no, I don't think it was too much to ask for. I mean, if you believe in the project and you believe in the message that the story is trying to convey, 100% you do what you got to do. And if you believe in the director, which I do, and the story, you're going to do whatever you have to do to make it happen.
So let's fast forward from there. Now let's go to March 2023. New York is doing somewhere around 40, 50 degrees. And all of a sudden you have to fly to North Dakota. Tell me your mental preparation of that. And you knew that you were going to have outdoor scenes. So tell us a little bit about that experience that you had.
It was definitely, there was some adjustment being in North Dakota in below 18 degrees. Uh, was I prepared? I thought I was. Not really. But I mean, the landscape, the people, I mean, everything, working with everyone actually just made the experience more, that much better. And you endure it, for the film and, just working with the actors that we had on set. I mean, and the people, everyone who took the time and volunteered their services to actually try and get this film together. Amazing. I mean, I would do it again.
We had a scene where we had about, I believe we had about 20 or 25 background,
Yeah.
and it was minus 32 to be precise. The winds were blowing like 30 miles an hour, and we had an outdoor scene. The snow was up to the knee, and we had an outdoor scene, and then we had our actors, and we had June from from New York. And and that was the day that the camera fell and broke and so on. So it was a very tension driven scene, but it was tension driven for the scene itself because, I'm not going to give the story away, but there was a lot of tension that was happening in the film, in the scene itself. How did you bring that into your character when you were playing it in the open field and it was cold and were you thinking about yourself? Were you thinking about being the actress that you were? Like, how did you put that all together in a nutshell to portray the best possible realistic work, I want to call it, for your character?
You just do it. I mean, you saw all of these people really, they showed up in droves for this scene. I mean, it was amazing. We had news coverage. I mean, we were braving the elements, okay? But I mean, there was a lot of obstacles with the camera falling, but we persevered and we pushed through it, and everybody was so positive. I mean, you just couldn't help but want to, want to continue. And yeah, I've never experienced. Technically, the snow was up to my waist. Okay, just it wasn't up to my knees; it was my waist. Um, but it was just drive and adrenaline. Honestly, you just wanted to do it and bring this awareness. I mean, could you imagine, like, this happens in so many different areas of the world, and you have these people who want to find uh whoever was abducted, and like the empathy and the kindness and the heart that's behind the everyone's drive and wanting to make sure all of these children and all these people that are affected by human trafficking are protected and are saved. It's drive and heart, honestly.
I did get a chance to speak with some of the background, and I was really, happy that they gave me the moment. And I asked them, I said, why are you doing this? It's treacherous, it's horrible, it's cold, they were sitting in the car waiting for me to get the camera set up for hours, and one of them just turned around and said, how could we not? You are trying to tell the world about what really goes on in the backyard, and this is happening in America, the sexual abuse at home, which is goes hush hush and not been spoken about. So I asked these backgrounds, and they said, we have to do this. This is not for you. This is not for me. This is basically, we want to tell people that the abuse that goes on in America, especially in America, and I say especially in America, I don't mean only in America. I mean, in America, that the world doesn't think that it happens, that in a small town, a girl is getting abused or a guy is getting abused, and they don't even know that they're getting abused. So that is the reason why they did it. Is that the reason why you took on the role so strong? And I have to say, you worked so hard at it. And I was like totally blown away. I mean, was it this that drove you to you know to take it the extra step, to give it so much more time? Did you face something like that, sex abuse, in your personal life? Do you know someone who did it? Is that the reason why you pushed it so hard?
We're conditioned to keep things, what happens in the family stays in the family, and things don't get talked about on the outside world. And I think um that has to change. Like, and I think children especially are so vulnerable, and we as a society need to break the silence of keeping things hush hush, because the sexual abuse, it's too rampant and it needs to stop. And I think that was like one of the driving forces that that drove me to do it. And yeah, I know people that have been sexually abused. I've been sexually abused in my past, so I felt it was my duty to bring this character and to bring myself to do whatever it is I had to do to make this film what it is.
Every one out of three, if not four, girls that I have spoken to about this film have said the same thing. And it's the sex trafficking which is so publicly known, especially these days. It's the sex abuse at home, which is very rarely spoken about. And it happens so much in the backyard, in our backyard, that I believe, like you said, what happens in the family stays in the family has to be changed. That mentality has to be changed. That's the reason why most of my actors, my writers, my crew, my post production, everybody has signed up for that same exact reason, that the abuse goes on, but we're speaking about sex trafficking.
Mm.
What about the abuse that happens, right? So I'm actually really proud and happy that you came on board and helped us with making the film real. I wish I had time to speak to you in further, but I want you to tell the new and upcoming actors in how to break into our industry. What would you say?
Keep at it. Don't be discouraged. There's a lot of times where, you find yourself like, is this really for me? Or, you put that doubt in your mind. And it's easy to, to say I can't, or I won't, and this isn't, this isn't for me, or is this for me? You start questioning yourself, and sometimes fear sets in, and the saying is feel the fear and do it anyway. Just do it. You'll be surprised at what happens and what comes out of you. You'll surprise yourself. Just keep at it.
Your persistence in doing what you want to do is what impresses me, about you. And, thanks for just being that inspiration that you are.
Thank you so much, Ijaz. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this film. It's really important and it's a great message, and it needs to be told.
Tell me, what are your expectations out of this film?
My expectations for Trapped is, if, like you said, and I think it's so true, that if you can save one person,
Mm-hmm.
from being trafficked or from sexual abuse, we've done our job. We've done our job.
Great, guys. It was awesome speaking to June Marie Davis, and great friend, amazing partner in anything. She's produced for us. She's produced my feature film called Before They Vanish. She's a producer in Trapped as well. Whatever she does amazing. So thank you, June.
Bye, guys.